Hello my dear you all, Jai Hind. My dear, today's topic will be after supplementary quantity. In my last video it was supplementary quantity. We have studied detailed study about plane angle and solid angle. Now my dear, after supplementary quantity, now let's go to the next physical quantity. If you remember the third one, that is nothing but derived physical quantity. And my dear, now from today onwards, say you are entering in the great world of the physics, because now your studies will be little complex as what we studied till yesterday, that is about solid angle, plane angle, fundamental quantity. That's all okay, physical world. Now from today, my dear, you have to use your brain, you have to use logical studies, you have to give the reasons why this is happening and what is that. So let's start with the question, my dear. The question is define derived physical quantity and derived unit with dimensions. You are introducing with the term dimensions. So today in this lecture, there will be a smart and the important topic we are going with, and the important topic is dimension, my dear. I am teaching dimension here superficially. But my dear, the reason behind it, because dimensions will be start as soon as the derived physical quantity is introduced. जैसे derived physical quantity introduce हुआ, dimension शुरू हो जाता है. Dimensions होना चाहिए. Dimensions will be, because what is dimension? Dimension is for derived physical quantity. They are meant for derived physical quantity. And when we write dimensions, we use the fundamental quantity. Please take this golden word. I'll keep repeating this word. And what is that word? So dimensions is for derived physical quantity. And I am doing that topic, derived physical quantity. So dimensions are for derived physical quantity in terms of, किसके terms में रहते हैं, किसके रूप में रहते हैं? Fundamental quantity. मतलब now we will play dimension, derived quantity and fundamental quantities. Okay, now let's start with the things. What is that? And be very cautious with the particular video. See many more time. Dimension is very important concept for entire life, my dear. If you don't know dimension, leave the physics. Okay, so it's my request. So let's start with the things. Now my dear, the very first derived physical quantity is area. Area. The very first derived physical quantity is area. Now why, my dear, this is called derived? You all know why derived means what? The one which is get formulated by the other quantity, or the one which depend upon any other quantity. Means that quantity is a derived. Say, what is the formula for area? I'll show you how it is derived. This is length into length if it is a square. If it is a rectangle, the area is length into breadth. And if it is circle, my dear, it is pi r square. These are the formulas for area. Now, my dear, looking to the formula of area, you can say, sir, area is derived. Area formed, or area is calculated with the help of length and length in the case of square, with the help of length and breadth in the case of, my dear, rectangle, and with the help of square of radius and pi, right? That is 22/7 in the case of circle. Now, my dear, ultimately what is this? Sir, area is depend upon fundamental quantity, because length is a fundamental quantity. How many times I have taken that length, that's not important. But length is a fundamental quantity. Even, my dear, breadth in physics, while writing dimension, I will write it as length. I will take it as length denoted by L, capital L. Similarly, even R, square, even R, the word R, that is radius, in physics is taken as length. So distance, displacement, everything. We are not bothered about scalar vector while writing dimensions. But these are the things are represented by length, that is capital L. Bhale naam radius ho, we will say it as length. Bhale naam displacement ho, we will say it as length. Distance hai, we will say it as length. Okay, fine. So my dear, what is the ultimate story? That area depend upon fundamental quantity. And hence area is a derived physical quantity. So what is derived physical quantity? What you can have a logic? Sir, derived physical quantity depend. You can see my finger. It depend. You can see derived physical quantity depend upon the fundamental quantities. Breadth is a fundamental, even radius is a fundamental because they are termed as length. I hope it is clear. Now my dear, look at the symbol, look at the unit. Now length is meter, even this length is meter. You can see length is meter, this length is meter. So symbol will be meter square. I write the symbol first. That is good habit. By looking the formula, write symbol first. What is the unit of length? Meter. Another unit of length? Meter. Even breadth is meter. Even radius is meter. And how many times radius square? So meter square. And here when I write unit, I will write it as square meter. We read it as verbally meter square, but while writing over here we say square meter. Now my dear, come down to the dimension. So simple, na? So up till now what I have taught, that area depend upon, area is a derived physical quantity. And why we call this as derived physical quantity? Because it depend or it derived from the fundamental quantity. So there are so many derived physical quantity, my dear, so many. सिर्फ 9 quantities को छोड़ के, that is from 7 fundamental and 2 supplementary, all quantity which will study now hereafter are derived physical quantity. Electric field, magnetic field, force, momentum, power, work, kinetic energy, potential energy, all, everything, frequency, wavelength, all are derived physical quantity. Even wavelength we say it as a lambda, so it is again length and therefore it is taken as a fundamental because it does not depend upon any other quantity. So wavelength is not that. But my dear, rest all, when I say velocity, when I say frequency, they all are derived. The one which derived from the fundamental. I hope it is clear. Except length, mass, time, temperature, electric current, luminous intensity, amount of substance. ये सारी quantities को छोड़ के rest all is the derived quantity, and the 2 more, that is plane angle and solid angle. The 9 quantities को छोड़ के rest all quantities, my dear, are derived quantity. Okay. Now, so here square meter. Now let's go to the dimension. Now what is dimension? My dear, while writing dimension, right now I am teaching you superficially. And I am writing 10 derived physical quantity. There are so many derived physical quantity, but my dear, I am giving you an idea about 10 top 10 derived physical quantity. Why I am writing in that manner? Once you learn the dimension of that top 10, learn. If I say what is this derived physical quantity, what is the dimension? You have to answer. So believe me, you can solve the dimension of any derived physical quantity. Any. There are billions of derived physical quantity. You can solve the dimension of that derived physical quantity with the help of or with the knowledge of this top 10 derived physical quantity which I am writing and their dimensions. I'll show you in my all examples. We will crack all the numericals on this ground. So now, what about dimension? Now my dear, whenever you express dimension, वापस से I'll repeat, dimension you are writing for whom? For derived physical quantity, right? So whenever we write the dimension for derived physical quantity, we will begin with opening box bracket and closing with here also a closing square box bracket and opening square box bracket, you can say. Opening box bracket and closing box bracket. My dear, you cannot represent dimension like this. No, this is wrong. You cannot put any commas or any full stop or any punctuation mark while writing any dimensions for any derived physical quantity. Please make a note of this. So what is that? Sir, first I cannot make like this curve bracket. We have to make square type bracket, opening and closing. Second is that there is no comma or full stop like things, or no punctuation marks, as I have told you in my symbol rules also. And third, very important, everything will be represented with the capital letter. If I am to represent, I said in which form they will represent it, they will represent in terms of fundamental quantity. For whom we are writing? Derived quantity. Dimension किसके लिए लिख रहे हैं? Derived के लिए. किसके terms में लिखेंगे? Fundamental. So here if I write length, I will write capital L, mass capital M, time capital T, so on. right? And there are also some rules. I can write either in terms of length mass time, that is LMT, or I can write in terms of mass length time, that is MLT. But I cannot begin with time first, then length second or mass second and length third or mass third. I hope it is clear. मतलब in short, आपको dimensions you have to write LMT, length mass time form में, or mass length time form. That's all. Because you can logic here also. So my first fundamental quantity was length in your example, remember. Second was mass. So better is either LMT form, you write the dimensions of derived physical quantity, or in the terms of MLT, that is mass length time. But you are not supposed to start with time first, then length and mass in order. Okay. So there's all little rules you are supposed to make a note of it. So my dear, let's start with the dimensions. So I am making the opening square bracket, closing square bracket. Now, how many length here? This is L power 1 and L power 1. Here is 1, here is 1. How many L? There are 2 L. So I write L2, L power 2. Even I said breadth is called length. Breadth is also length. Even radius is also length. So my dear, every time, sir, you will get L ka power 2 as a dimension. Right? And there is no mass and no time. You can see area does not depend upon mass. Sir, in formula there is no mass, there is no time. So here m ka power 0 and time power 0. If there is no that particular physical quantity, I will put it as power 0, which means as 1. Matlab that mass and time does not exist. Please take care. If I put power 0 on the fundamental quantity, it means that fundamental quantity does not exist to derive the formula of derived physical quantity. Of course, here there is no mass. So mass power 0, time power 0. My dear, in short, most of the students read this as L power 2. They don't write m power 0, t power 0, because it is but natural. If I have not written m power 0, t power 0 in the bracket, only L power 2, it stands for area, dimension. But right now, since you are doing basically, you are doing fundamentally, so please, right now you will spell this as L2 M0 T0. Look at the way of spelling dimension. L2 M0 T0. Don't say L power 2 M power 0 T power 0. You can spell this as L2 M0 T0 or L2 as a dimension of area. So I hope you understood. So what is area? Area is derived physical quantity. It depends upon fundamental quantity. Am I clear? Now next, my dear, next is volume. Acha, representation of area is capital A. Volume is capital V. Please make a note of it, because I will come across velocity. So don't get confused with velocity ka representation and volume ka representation. Make your own representation in such a way that you should remember कि आपने क्या represent किया है. नहीं तो आप cancel करोगे. Am I clear? And confuse होगे. Volume. Sir, volume formula is length into breadth into length into length into length. One formula for cube, or length into breadth into height. Right? I hope it is clear. Length into length into length, or length into breadth into height. Or in the case of my dear circle, you all know what is the volume. So it kept in terms of radius, it will be r cube. In spherical formula, we will say 4 by 3 pi r cube. Formula of sphere volume, r cube, radius ka cube. So what is the meaning of this, my dear? Every time I said only कि length ही होता है, radius भी, breadth ही radius है, height ही radius है. So here what will be the dimension? चलो dimension focus करो first. Now here is a box bracket, here is a closing box bracket. How many L? 1, 2, 3. So this will be L3. Any mass? No mass. So N power 0, T power 0. That's all over. Or in short, we'll say L cube or L3. L3 as a dimension over. So anybody will ask you, what is the dimension of volume? Sir, L3. Area L square or L2. So please be cautious, and rest all you can write power 0, because that quantity does not exist. And what will be the unit? Sir, meter, meter, meter. It will be meter cube. So I am writing symbol first, and here I will write cubic meter. So again, volume is that derived quantity which depend upon, come on, length, even breadth height is length, it depend upon fundamental quantity. Okay, now next derived physical quantity is, my dear, density. Let I am representing by rho. Some books say D also, small d. Now again it's on you, but you take care. Whenever you take any alphabet, please write there that this alphabet represents this. So this is density, say rho, and the formula is mass upon volume. Now my dear, let me tell you one thing very clearly. Sir, I can solve all the derived physical quantity ka dimension. Okay, now from tomorrow you have to do this. Kali video dekh ke baitho mat ghar pe. You have to do dimensions sincerely, nahi to you are wasting your time. Leave the class, leave physics. If you don't know dimensions, you are really, I'm telling you, you are spoiling your base. You will get a lot of orders till class 12th, I'm sure about it. And in the annual examination, still annual examination will keep asking the questions from dimension either for 2 mark, 3 mark, 4 mark, 5 mark even. So you are don't spoil your base, look at the things properly. So what I said, sir, we can find the dimension of any derived physical quantity. Perhaps you should know the formula. See, I am able to write all this because I am writing formula, I am showing you formula, and because of that I am writing dimension. Now next is density. Density is mass upon volume. So this is mass upon volume. Now here one rule, look at it. This is the formula of density, that is mass upon volume. Now my dear, it's my request, as I said, derived physical quantities totally depend upon fundamental quantity. Okay, once again, derived physical quantity totally depend upon fundamental quantity. Right? So in my first two example, I am getting pure fundamental quantity in formula. Length, all fundamental. But in third formula, numerator is fundamental quantity, mass. But volume is not fundamental quantity, it is derived quantity. So what should I do? I will first break this volume in fundamental quantity. Am I clear? See, first I will write formula. Say density ka formula is mass upon volume. Now next is what? Sir, mass is fundamental. I will write as it is. Because what I said, that derived physical quantity totally depend upon fundamental. But sir, in the formula, we have mass in numerator and volume in denominator. Upper fundamental and niche derived hai, sir. So how you can say it is derived from the fundamental only? My dear, you forward one more step, that here volume will be further because volume is derived. So okay, fine. We will convert that volume in fundamental by writing L cube. Because you know, sir, volume is L cube. Here there is no sense of writing breadth, height, all, because I am repeating again and again. Radius, breadth, height, everything, distance, displacement, everything is for me is length now for this chapter, unless and until I am going for and focusing on scalar, vector or motion type things. So please take care. So this is m by L cube. Now you see from your eye, this is mass and this is length cube. Of course both are fundamental. So I proved that this is a quantity which purely depend upon fundamental quantities on the right side. So and now by basis of this I can write dimension. Again here opening box bracket, closing box bracket, here L cube, but that is in denominator. So it will go up, it become L minus 3, L power minus 3. It go up, L power minus 3. And here M having a power how much? 1. Here mass is there. Earlier two example there was no mass. But here mass is there. How much is the power? 1. So here I write M1. But time is not there. So I will write T0. So some of the book write this as this way. Or this way. Either L power minus 3m or m L power minus 3. Here they are writing only m because in the power we can assume, sir, it is plus 1. But if it is minus 1, they will write minus 1. Rest all power will keep writing. Rest all power कुछ है तो लिखना ही पड़ेगा. But if it is 1, my dear, no need of writing as 1 na, because it is naturally that there is 1 plus 1. But in case of minus 1, you have to specify it is minus 1. There you need to write. Okay, I hope you are understanding from my video. So now here this will be, what will be the unit, sir? Simple. Now look at the unit. Numerator में क्या है? Mass. So here it will be symbol is kilogram. सब कुछ सिखा दिया और ऑलरेडी वीडियो रिपीट करो, वीडियो को देखो, एग्जाम अच्छा होना चाहिए, टेस्ट होने वाले हैं. This is kilogram divided by, that is divide by, here it is L cube. L means meter and cube means cube, meter cube. So how I read this? Kilogram per cubic meter. Kilogram, this is called per cubic meter. मीटर क्यूब बोलते हैं, किलोग्राम पर मीटर क्यूब, बट व्हाइल राइटिंग यू से क्यूबिक मीटर. I hope it is clear. So now I prove density is that physical quantity which depend upon fundamental quantity. So my dear, these all are derived quantities. So what are derived quantity? I hope this example are enough to make you understand that what is derived quantity. So what is derived quantity? All those physical quantity, I am writing PQ, which P for physical, Q for quantity, which depend upon fundamental quantities are called derived physical quantity. And what are the derived units? So simple. So the unit, these are the units, but these are the units of whom? Square meter is unit of what? Sir, area. And what is area? Sir, it is a derived quantity. So square meter is a derived unit, which is a unit of derived quantity. So it's so simple. So what is derived unit? The unit of derived physical quantity are called derived unit. Square meter is the unit, derived unit. Of which derived quantity? Area. But you said no, it is a unit of derived quantity. Similarly, this is a unit of derived quantity. What is the name of that derived quantity? Volume. This is the unit of derived quantity. Right? Unit of derived quantity. Kilogram per cubic meter is a unit of derived quantity. Which derived quantity? Density. So what are derived unit? The unit of derived quantities are called derived units. Am I clear? So what are derived units? The unit of derived quantity are called derived units. So my dear, I hope you are understanding dimensions and all everything. Now my dear, my next is velocity, denoted by small v. That is nothing but, my dear, everybody know distance upon time. You can say this as speed. Don't get confused. If anybody will tell you what is the dimension of speed, it is same as dimension of velocity. Take care. Everybody note down this. I said here there is no matter of scalar and vector. So speed is scalar, so dimension is different. And velocity is vector, the dimension is different. Nothing doing scalar and vector to the dimensions. So dimension of speed, dimension of velocity is same. Dimension of initial velocity, dimension of final velocity. Again, initial final doesn't make a sense. You remember? Initial final doesn't make a sense. Dimension of any velocity, it is initial final, no sense. It is dimension of ultimately quantity. Quantity name is velocity. So please try to understand. Now you are in class 11. So here velocity or speed, sir, this is distance by time or displacement by time. I have no issue. But because I am very clear with my concept that I said that distance, displacement for me while not doing dimensions are nothing but length. So here ultimately the formula is L by T. See, I am not writing small l, neither I am writing capital T, small t. The reason behind it, because I am smart to write my dimensions, because I need the capital letters in dimensions. So I try my level best to write, to break the fundamental also in formula. I am writing everywhere in capital, you can see. So please take care. This all habit you should inculcate in yours also. So this is L by T. I hope it is clear. Now if it is L by T, what is unit, sir? Length. It is meter per. And this is time. That is S. Please don't write SEC. अपने मन का कुछ करो नहीं. I told you that symbol is S. Whenever you write 16 second, write this na. That's a 16 second. Don't do your SEC and all that. Okay, because we taught all this na. In writing symbol, look at what symbol we have given. So जब पढ़ रहे हो everything take care करो. So this is meter per second. So here I will write meter per second. चलो dimension try करो. Opening box bracket, closing box bracket. Sir, there is L. L के power में क्या है? Come on, see. 1. So it is L power 1. Mass है? No sir, there is no mass. So M power 0. And T power 1 at denominator. Go up, become T power minus 1. In short, you can say L1 T minus 1. Or LT minus 1. LT minus 1. Because I said whenever there is a 1, they don't say 1. Because it but natural, if there is a power at power of there, it is 1. But if it is minus, we need to write. See here, minus I am writing. Because I cannot keep minus in here. Na? I need to write again, it is 1, 2, whatever. Okay, so you are understanding all this. So next is momentum. See, this is in order. Momentum denoted by such small p. Formula mass into velocity. I am writing small v because capital V is volume. See, look at it. Mass into velocity. Again here trouble. Sir, mass velocity is formula. Mass is fundamental. Okay, so this is mass only. This is mass only. I will not touch it. It is fundamental from God gift. But velocity is not fundamental. Am I clear? So what I told you, sir, momentum is that derived quantity which is totally fundamental होना चाहिए. Formula में एक fundamental एक derived है. So what is your aim? Sir, I will break that derived in fundamental. So this will be m into, and velocity is nothing but I have written up also, length divided by time. That is distance upon time. Please understand. This is m into, velocity is what? L by t. So this length divided by time. I have written. Now it is, you can see here momentum is a derived quantity which depend upon mass, which depend upon length, and which depend upon time. And all are fundamental quantity. But earlier formula was showing me mass and velocity. Their velocity was derived quantity. So what I did, I converted it into fundamental by looking above formula. Sir, array velocity is distance by time, so it can be written as L by t. Okay, now I can write the unit here. Here mass, so it is kilogram. See, so simple, kg, and therefore I have written all symbol, method, everything. Kilogram. Here length, here it is meter, divide by this is per second. Kilogram meter per second. Here I will write kilogram meter per second. And what is the dimension here? Look at it. What will be the dimension? Now here m power 1, L is also 1 and T is also 1. But T is in 1 in denominator. So here I will write L power 1, m power 1 and T power minus 1. Or I can write as L m T minus 1. See, power 1 as I said, no need of writing. So it is L m T minus 1. But here I cannot write 2 because all has carry some power. Here in other example, one of the things was 0. One of the power was 0, so I am writing only 2. But here all carrying the power, so the answer will be this. Or in terms of MLT, it can be written as this way, M L T minus 1. M L T minus 1. I can write this first. But M stand for mass, length, time, and all are in capital letter. No full stop, no commas, no invert, punctuation mark, opening box bracket and closing box bracket, square bracket. Not any curl bracket, curve bracket like that. You cannot write dimension like this. Wrong. So please take care of all this. Thank you. Write this much. Then I will go for the dimension. Here I have given how many quantity? 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. So now what are derived quantities? These are the derived quantity. They all are depend upon fundamental quantity. And I try my level best to correct all the formula. They are formulas in derived quantity. And why I have did all this? Because sir, I can easily get, if I'll correct na, then you will easily, because here if I write velocity, you don't know the dimension, then you have, otherwise you have to learn the dimension of velocity directly. So mass का dimension is m power 1 and velocity का dimension is lt minus 1. So I can get this answer, lt minus 1. I can join that because that's all algebra. But now it is a beginning. Try your level best to convert every quantity in the fundamental quantity, every derived quantity into fundamental. Break it and get the dimension naturally. I hope it is clear. So please my dear, this is all about 5 quantity. I will give you more 5 quantity. Now you have to learn this 10 quantity ke dimensions directly. That is what I mean to say. If I say what is the dimension of momentum tomorrow while solving the sums, you will say from your side it is lmt minus 1. lmt minus 1. Or better, I'm interested if you say L1 m1 t minus 1. L1 m1 t minus 1 or m1 L1 t minus 1. What is the dimension of velocity? L1 m0 t minus 1. L1 m0 t minus 1. L1, you can see L1 m0 t minus 1. Density. Think over mass upon volume. L cube, na sir, L cube upar jayega. That will be L minus 3. M1, mass is there. So M1, L minus 3 and T0. So think, prepared everything. Thank you. Jai Hind. And my dear, this is humble request. Don't sit alone. Take rest completely, but study hard. Learn all this. Thank you. Jai Hind.